Hello everyone, I am Wendy with Winds Change Ministries, and today I'm going to continue talking about Abraham. Um, so, but let's begin in the story of Jashar, or the book of Jashar, because it's pretty interesting. Abraham was the son of Terach, okay? And who was one of the commanders or chiefs in for Nimrod, the guy who built the Tower of Babel, okay, and was defiant to God. So anyway, Terah had a couple of sons, and then Abraham came along, and the night that Abraham was born, he had company. The father did. Some of the wise men of the area, and they saw a miracle in the sky, some kind of a sign in the sky, and they knew that it was a sign that Abraham was going to play a role in the destruction of Nimrod. So they shared that information with Nimrod, and Nimrod wanted the child killed. Terah had compassion on his baby and decided to take a, a newborn from his own servants as a replacement, because apparently he had a lot of servants. And so they killed that baby. Well, and then he sent Abraham to, it's been a while since I actually read this. I'm just going back on memory. I think to Shem. Yeah, to Shem himself, the son of Noah, to be raised by Shem for a period of time. And when he came back as an adult, Abraham saw that his father worshipped statues, and he's like, oh, why do you worship these? They don't, they're not alive. Why are you worshiping them? So he kind of mocked them and stuff, right? Anyway, so then Terah, he explained why, and like I said, I don't remember the exact reasons. It's been a long time, but he just kind of gave some kind of excuse, and Abraham proved him wrong. And then one day, he tricked. He told his mother to prepare a sacrifice because he wanted to go into the house of the gods and offer a sacrifice. And anyway, and then when Terah came home, he saw that all of his statues had been destroyed, and Abraham said that all of them, well, they got in a big fight, and they destroyed each other. And Terah knew that he had been lying, but he was kind of just making fun of the whole situation, and he knew he had been lying, and so he was mad at his son. It's like, and then Abraham was saying, well, if you know that they can't fight and destroy each other, then how do you know that they're real? So anyway, the point is not to worship statues, not to offer, give sacrifices. All right, it's silly. You're gonna give sacrifices to something that's not alive. It didn't make any sense to him. And the Most High God loved Abraham because of his strength, okay? Now, I know that a lot of people have statues in their house. They have pictures in their house. Are you worshiping them? Are you offering sacrifices to them? Do you see the difference here? So anyway, so it turned into a big debacle that Nimrod found out about him destroying the statues, because Terah actually went to Nimrod saying, hey, I've got this problem. I don't know what to do about this situation. He was mad at Abraham. And anyway, so then when Nimrod found out that Abraham had not been destroyed and that Terah had been deceptive towards him about this whole situation, he required not only Abraham but also Haran, Haran to be destroyed, both of them at the same time. So he was so the eldest son. Well, when and this was a pretty nice guy, you know, he wasn't bad, but he didn't worship God the way you know, the way God wanted to be worshipped. And so when they went into the fire, God saved Abraham and let the other one die. All right. So anyway, when they left the land of of that area where they were all born, where they had homesteaded, right? They the whole family picked up. They got away from Nimrod. Nimrod was afraid to mess with Abraham after that because of this miracle. And anyway, so they settled in a different area, and then years later, well, and then the family, they all intermarried. Okay, so like they all intermarried. You know, apparently Terah had a few wives, and so the sons married the daughters of their stepmoms. All right, and so they were just all just one one family of inbreeds. So then God told Abraham to go down. Now that whole inbreed thing is important, and I'll tell you why momentarily. So God had Abraham go down further into Canaan, which is Israel, and he away from his father and his, you know, and his brothers and stuff. And he took Sarai, Sarah, his stepsister, as his wife, and he also took his brother that had passed away in that fire. He took him with him. All right, he felt an obligation to look out for this man who was about his age. So anyway, when they went down into Canaan, which is modern Israel, at one period they there was a drought, so they went down into Israel. Mitzrayim, Egypt. And while there, they saw the beauty of Sarai, and he told Sarai, to say that she is his sister, which was true, not a bold-faced lie. So anyway, and not his, and so it was a little bit deceptive. All right, that way he wouldn't die. Well, then the Almighty came to the king and said, "Hey, what's up with this? You've got a man's wife in your house." Okay, and so the king of Egypt just basically wanted to get Abraham and this whole drama out of his kingdom. He didn't want to be guilty of anything. He felt deceived, and he didn't appreciate that, but yet it was still true. It wasn't a complete lie. But so then, but he sent him off with a lot of possessions, servants and animals. And so he was quite wealthy. And Abraham went back into Canaan. He hung around in the southern part of Israel, okay, of Canaan, modern day Israel. And his herds and his nephew's herds, Luth, okay, they got very big. And so Abraham told his nephew, "Hey, you know, you pick this side or this side. I don't care. It's your choice. And I will pick the other. Whatever you don't want, I'll take it." Okay? So Luth, Lot, he chose the area where Sodom and Gomorrah are. Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is in the southern part of the Jordan River, okay, still in Canaan territory, but on the south part, okay, and that's where they settled. And Abraham stayed in Hebron, okay, and actually that name of the area he stayed is one of the reasons why we call him and his descendants Hebrews, because they settled in Hebron. Okay, not that Eber. See, most times in the most times they will call someone according to their lineage, right? Now, Eber was his line, and that is Aiber. Okay, Aiber. Okay, that's the Paleo Hebrew name for Eber. But why are they called Hebrews? Right? Is because they had settled in that area originally, and so that's what they identified as the Hebrews. Okay, the Hebrews. So anyway, so because, like I said, he was a sojourner. The land that he came in to occupy, it was not passed down to him by lineage. It was, he basically took over it. Okay. So, after a while, God made a promise, and he said, he took him up on the mountain and said to Abraham, everything that you see I will give to your descendants. And anyway, and then here's something important. And God also told him at some point in Abraham's life that his descendants were going to be a blessing to the entire world. Okay? And I have already said that yesterday that the Ashkenaz Jews are not true descendants, blood descendants of Abraham. Maybe some of them are because of mixed blood, but the Ashkenaz Jews are actually converts from the line of not Shem, but Yepet, Japheth. Okay? So, yes, God did allow Abraham to be a blessing to the whole world, because when the house of Japheth, when the children of Japheth entered the house of Shem, that was like Caucasians, because that's what Japheth was, the Caucasians, okay? It was like Christianity, almost, because we kind of took on their religion. We were converts to, now Christianity is different than Judaism, I understand that, but still it's the same basic religion, all right, is Judeo-Christianity, okay, Judeo-Christian, because Judaism is the foundation of Christianity. So right there is a prophecy confirmed that God did use Abraham, not necessarily as descendants, but still as what was passed on through his descendants. And in all actuality, we are a melting pot, and the true blood of Abraham is all over the place. Okay, it's all over the place. We've all got some a little bit because they were very fruitful. They were very fruitful, and so we all have a little bit of the seed of Abraham within us. I can't say all, but a lot of us. All right. So, in fact, some people speculate that the Cherokee Nation was one of the lost tribes that came over, okay, was descendants of the tribes, as the seed of Israel dispersed throughout the world. All right, and I'm Cherokee. I have a little bit of Cherokee in me. So, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but anyway, I definitely feel like I'm a descendant, okay, bloodline descendant, regardless. So, backtracking, God told Abraham that his descendants would be a blessing to the whole world. Well, at some point, God wanted a confirmation that his children were going to inherit the blessings, right? And God had Abraham do a sacrifice of a cow, and of, I believe it was a goat, maybe a lamb, I don't remember. There's three. And then two turtle doves. Okay? Now, he had them cut them in half. Okay? So the sacrifice. And so first was the cow. I believe it was 3 years old. Then below, next was the goat or the lamb or the sheep. I believe it was a goat though. Regardless, it represented something, and I'll get into that in a second. And next was the turtle doves. Those, just like the seasons of the grain, the season of the wine, and the season of oil represent Judaism, Christianity, and the new era, the teachings of the New Jerusalem. Okay. Likewise, these sacrifices represent loosely that same concept. Okay, because God the Father is Judaism, right? And so, if you know anything about Paleo Hebrew, the Aleph, which is the one letter, the first letter of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet, and its pictograph is an ox head, okay, a bovine. So that cow represents the Father's era of a dominant faith on through in history. Okay, so Judaism. That's what that bovine, that cow represented. And then next we had the goat or lamb. Okay, now, yes, we know that basically goats and lambs, they're like from the same, they're not the same species, and yet they're very similar, right? They could be cousins, okay? Anyway, there's this concept of a scapegoat. So whether you want to identify that goat as Christianity because of the blood of Jesus, the Lamb of God, or if you recognize, if you know the sacrifices which are taught in Exodus, you will know that Jesus was also a scapegoat. Okay, he was a scapegoat. All right, and just to let you know, his sacrifice represents many things. All right, because he died for us. He was a scapegoat. So, and that's Christianity. All right, so you got the bovine, and these are loose representations, but it gives the concept. So you got the bovine for Judaism. You got the which was split in half, representing the masculine and feminine energy of God. Then you have the goat or the lamb, whether it's not I don't know what it would be called, that particular classification that has both lambs and goats in it. But anyway, that represents Christianity. It too was split in half, representing the two masculine and feminine energies that had been one. Okay, and it's almost as if when it was opened up. So Judaism opened up and begot Christianity, and then Christianity begot the next era, the season of oil, which is the season of the New Jerusalem teachings, the new teachings of peace, which we are currently underway. Okay, and that era is represented by two turtle doves. You got a separate masculine and a separate feminine energy, and they are not opened up. In other words, this is it. Okay, so the teachings of the New Jerusalem are what are supposed to last until the end of time. Okay, the understandings that are taught during this era. All right, these are the teachings that are supposed to last. they don't open up and beget anything else. All right, so that's what all of that symbolizes. Now, when I guess I'm going to leave it there for now. The video is long enough. We'll talk about his descendants tomorrow. Anyway, hey, go ahead and hit the like, post a comment, share this video, and also I have free downloads of Genesis, my interpretation of Genesis, down below as well. There's a link to it. All right, so my name is Wendy, and we're all living in the winds of change.